Good morning, Cullman, and thank you for joining us on Cullman Today. I'm your host, Annabelle Howes, and today is Monday, April 28th. Coming up on Cullman Today, a longtime Cullman resident announces her candidacy for the city school board, Fairview High students dive into an underwater robotics competition, and Aaliyah clarifies Star ID enforcement date. All of this plus sports, weather, and more. Now let's take a closer look at the top stories happening in Cullman today. Lifelong resident and current board appointee Jill Bradberry is officially seeking Place 1 on the Cullman City Board of Education. Bradberry was appointed to the board in 2023 and says she plans to continue focusing on staff and student safety, teacher support, and robust learning opportunities for all students. With 30 years of banking experience, she says she also brings a commitment to careful financial management. A mother of 3 Cullman High School graduates, Will, Kate, and Reed, Bradberry says she understands the value of extracurriculars like sports and theater. She is the daughter of longtime educators Richard and Doris Patterson and is married to Brian Bradberry. Cullman's municipal election is set for Tuesday, August 26th. From April 25th to 27th, 2025, Fairview High School students put their engineering skills to the test in the Marine Advanced Technology Education ROV competition Northern Gulf Coast Regional at Dauphin Island Sea Lab. Teams Tidal Tech, Coral Crew, and the Octonauts have spent months building and refining underwater robots to tackle real-world challenges like moving PVC pieces and simulating repairs on floating solar power fields. Fairview science teacher Elizabeth Lockhart says it's about solving real-world problems and thinking critically. Students have juggled jobs, classes, and fundraising efforts to travel and compete, all with the support of Cullman County Schools Superintendent Dr. Shane Barnett and the local community. Senior competitor and Chief Science Officer Parker Gutierrez explains there has been a lot of trial and error with buoyancy issues and limited resources, but it hasn't stopped his team's progress. Lockhart adds that the experience helps students learn teamwork and practical skills while also pushing them to explore career paths that they haven't considered before. The Alabama Law Enforcement Agency is reminding residents that May 7th is the date when federal Real ID requirements take effect, not the final deadline to get a Star ID. After May 7th, anyone flying domestically or entering certain federal buildings must show a Real ID compliant credential, such as a Star ID or valid U.S. passport. However, officials emphasize that Star ID will remain available at any of the 75 Aaliyah driver's license examining offices beyond that date. Star ID is optional for Alabama drivers who already hold another federally valid form of identification, and it is not a required form of ID for voting or everyday driving. Those seeking a Star ID should look for a gold star in the top corner of their Alabama driver's license. If appointments are full at one office, Aaliyah advises checking others in the area. For details and office locations, visit the address on the screen. Those are the top stories in Cullman today. Coming up, the Bearcats fall to Pell City in round 2. Sports is next. Welcome back. The Cullman Bearcats won their opening round series against Hazel Green last week and were back on Bill Shelton Field Saturday to face Pell City in round 2. Cullman jumped out to an early lead in Game 1, but the Panthers plated 8 runs in the 5th inning to pull ahead and went on to win it 10-6. It was Pell City that got off to a fast start in Game 2. The Panthers led 4-0 going into the 4th inning, but the Cats tied things up at 4 in the top of the 5th. However, Pell City was able to reclaim the lead in the 6th and held on to defeat the Bearcats 5-4, bringing Cullman's season to an end in round 2. The Panthers were able to take a 1-0 lead in the top of the 1st, but the Bearcats got the run back in the bottom half of the inning when Brooks Heatherly scored on a fielder's choice. In the bottom of the 2nd, Cullman took advantage of 2 walks and an error to put another run on the board and to take a 2-1 lead. Andrew Au kept things going with an RBI single up the middle to drive in Knox Malden and make it 3-1. Later in the inning, Cannon Bowen scored on a sacrifice fly from Coulter Bowen to give the Cats a 4-1 lead going into the third. After a scoreless third inning, Pale City was able to push another run across the plate in the fourth to trim the lead to 2, and the Panthers' bats got hot in the fifth. After they posted 7 hits, including a pair of home runs, to score 8 runs and move out in front 10-4. The Bearcats were able to chip away some of the lead in the bottom half of the fifth. Bennett Johnson scored on a fielder's choice to cut the lead to 5, and another RBI single off the bat of Al drove in Carson Stansel to make it a 10-6 game going into the sixth. Unfortunately for the home crowd, those were the last runs Cullman put on the board, and Pale City took Game 1 10-6. After a scoreless first inning in Game 2, Pale City plated a pair of runs in the bottom of the second to take a 2-0 lead. The Panthers tacked on 2 more runs in the third to make it a 4-0 game, but Cullman got on the scoreboard in the top of the fourth. Stansel led off the inning with a double, and after he moved to third on a wild pitch, Tyler Brock drove him in with a sacrifice fly to trim the lead 4-1. The Cats took advantage of another scoring opportunity in the fifth inning. Brooks Heatherly knocked an RBI single up the middle to drive in Al and bring the lead down 4-2. Later in the inning, Bennett Johnson blasted a 2-run bomb over the left field wall to tie the game at 4 and swing the momentum back to Cullman's dugout. Pale City moved in front of the bottom of the sixth, pushing 1 run across the plate to take a 5-4 lead in the final frame. Down to their final 3 outs, Heatherly led off the top of the 7th with a walk to put the tying run on base. Coulter Bowen laid down a sacrifice bunt to move Heatherly over to second, and Johnson ripped a single left to left field to put runners on the corners. Tyler Brock was intentionally walked to load the bases, but the Cats were unable to get the run home, and Pale City held to win Game 2 5-4 and advanced to round 3. And that wraps up sports for today. After the break, we'll bring you 4 quick stories, including this year's 4-H Roundup, the Miss Strawberry Festival Queen, and a hands-on woodworking event at the Agriplex. Welcome back. Now it's time to speed things up with a news rundown. 4 stories in under 4 minutes. The 2025 Cullman County 4-H Roundup packed the Agricultural Trade Center on April 22nd with nearly 200 students competing in categories like blocks rock, Lego builds, art, and freestyle performances. The turnout was so large that organizers had to move the event from its original venue at the last minute. Winners advanced to the Northeast Alabama Regional Congress on May 14th in Cleveland, Alabama. Some participants took home special recognition. Mark Armstrong from Hanceville Elementary and Melanie Haynes from Good Hope Elementary were named Leaders of the Year, while 4-H Rookie of the Year went to Parkside School's Madeline Bradley. Tanner Bell of Holly Pond was selected 4-H Member of the Year. 4-H Officers of the Year were announced, celebrating young leaders who have gone above and beyond in their roles. This year's honorees were Bella Ham from Fairview Elementary, Gracelyn Powell from West Point Intermediate School, and Tatum Dyer and Matthew Lemus, both from Vinemont. For more details, contact the Cullman County Extension Office at 256-737-9386 or visit www.aces.edu. On Saturday, April 12th, Cullman High School hosted the Miss Alabama Strawberry Festival pageant where Cold Spring sophomore Lainey Gerstmann emerged as the new title holder. Over the years, she's participated in multiple pageants, but this was her first attempt at the Miss Strawberry Queen competition. Despite some initial nerves, she found reassurance by talking with other contestants and leaning on her sister Avery for guidance. Beyond the onstage poise, she emphasized the value of kindness and support in pageantry. She also described her faith as an integral part to her confidence, drawing on biblical inspirations from verses such as 2 Corinthians 5:7 and Proverbs 16:3 to stay motivated. Gershman hopes her success encourages younger onlookers to remain true to themselves, treat others well, and remember that making lasting friendships can be just as rewarding as the crown itself. The Cullman Police Department is celebrating Major Inte Sue's 15 years of service. Major Sue, who leads the department's investigation division, is known for his dedicated work on critical cases and for mentoring younger officers. His leadership has helped enhance public safety and strengthened the department. Officials express their gratitude for his accomplishments and ongoing commitment to the community. The North Alabama Agriplex invites the community to a hands-on cedar planter workshop tomorrow from 6 to 8 p.m. Local craftsman Leldon Maxey will guide participants through the process of building a spring-ready planter. Youth ages 12 to 15 are welcome, but they must register and attend with a paid adult. Admission is $30 per person, and spots can be reserved by calling 256-297-1044 or by visiting the address on the screen. Organizers say it's a great opportunity to pick up woodworking skills and to kick off your summer gardening plans. And that's your 4 stories in under 4 minutes. Now for a quick break before we look at the weather ahead and pay our respects with obituaries. I'll be right back after this quick message.
Cullman's in full bloom in the newest edition of Community Matters from the Cullman Tribune. Discover fresh dining spots, celebrate community connections, and meet local heroes making a real difference. From stunning sights to courtside lights, there's something for everyone to enjoy. Pick up your free copy around town or read it online today. Community Matters. Get to know your community.
Let's take a moment to pause and reflect as we pay our respects to those who lost their lives this week as we turn to obituaries. Funeral service for William Scott Hale, 65 of Cullman, will be at 2 p.m. on Tuesday, April 29th at Cullman Funeral Home Chapel with interment in Concord Cemetery. The family will receive friends at the funeral home from noon to 2 p.m. Nancy Rebecca Harrison Moore passed away on Saturday, April 26th. A celebration of life service will be held at a later date. Our thoughts and prayers go out to their friends and families. Now let's take a look at today's weather forecast. Today is shaping up to be a bright one with lots of sunshine and a high around 84. Tonight, expect partly cloudy skies and temperatures dipping into about 65. Tomorrow, we'll see a mix of clouds and sun again, with highs near the mid-80s. Tomorrow night brings mostly cloudy skies, and you can look for lows around 65. That wraps up today's edition of Cullman Today. Thank you for sharing your morning with us, and remember to stay connected by following us on social media and visiting CullmanTribune.com for the latest from our community. We'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning at 6:30 a.m. I'm Annabelle Howes with Cullman Today. Have a great day, Cullman.